The Joker is one of the most iconic villains of both the comic book world and on the silver screen. Like most popular characters, we've witnessed multiple versions of the Joker over the years portrayed in some very different ways. Some have been a ruthless killer and others have just been pranksters, but on today's video, only the coolest Jokers will survive. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers, and if you happen to be new here, make sure you tap that subscribe button and never miss another video from Top 10 Nerd. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with who your favorite DC villain is. And while you ponder that, let's get into today's list of the top 10 alternate versions of the Joker cooler than the original. In at number 10, Creed Quinn. Also known as Hyena, this version of the Joker first appeared in Legends of the Dark Claw #1. It was an amalgamation of Sabretooth and the Joker, while also having a name mixing of both Sabretooth, also known as Victor Creed, and Harley Quinn, of course. The interesting thing with this version of the Joker is that it was a shared creation of DC Comics and Marvel Comics, which meant that they had the creative freedom to feature combinations of both DC and Marvel characters. The Hyena fights against his nemesis, the Dark Claw, aka Logan Wayne, which is just a composite of Batman and Marvel's Wolverine. Hyena, much like Wayne in this comic book, is a mutant with the ability to rapidly heal injuries. The two were both subjects of the Weapon X program, but the program was an attempt to create living weapons, but Hyena used his enhancements to become a psychopathic killer. Typical Joker. In at number 9, BLOODSTORM. In the comic book Batman BLOODSTORM, the Joker becomes the leader of a group of vampires after the death of their original leader, Dracula. Taking place on Earth 43, he successfully coordinates his efforts to take control of Gotham's major crime families. Later on, the vampire version of Batman would team up with a werewolf combo of Selina Kyle. Unfortunately, Selina Kyle is killed in the final battle by Joker's vampires, but what's worse is that her death causes Batman to succumb to his own lust for blood. This version of the Joker, in my opinion, not only has kept true to the original, but added a unique twist, making him much cooler. Following Batman fighting his lust for blood, he ultimately gives in, biting the Joker and thus falling victim to his master plan. Now Batman is left tormented by the knowledge that the Joker won their long conflict by driving him to kill. So not only is he damned by Dracula's bite and the Joker's blood now in equal measure, but he also must finally surrender to his vampire side. In at number 8, Suicide Squad.
Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad.
Back in 2016, Suicide Squad brought a version of the Joker to the big screen that was more than visually memorable. Jared Leto's pale skin, chrome teeth, and infinite Joker-related tattoos are striking at first but fit in this modern era. Unfortunately, many found the movie hard to watch as this Joker didn't resemble any of the predecessors, which were some big shoes to fill already. That being said, I wish that Jared Leto had gotten more screen time with the character. This new age remodeling is actually a great idea for the Joker. Too much of the same thing has never been good, even when it comes to the villains in our hero's journey. Hopefully someone can reprise this role in the future with more of an actual story behind it. As I said, all of that aside, you've got to admit that the first glances of the costume for this Joker were incredible. Death of the Family. Scott Snyder had bold ambitions on creating a new Joker, one that was more fitting for modern times. To do so, he took the classic structure of the Joker and just cranked it up to 11, and man oh man was it ever cool. In the Death of the Family comic book, he actually fooled Batman into thinking that he had skinned his friends and forced them to eat their own faces. Plus, while doing so, the Joker appeared wearing his own severed face as a mask. At the dinner table in the Batcave, the Joker had Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Robin, Red Hood, and Damian Wayne all tied up around the table, staring at their own severed faces on a dinner plate. It all turned out to be a cruel joke, but that did not take away from the psychological damage that had been done. Scott Snyder set out to create a terrifying modern take on this villain, and both in style and storylines, he accomplished that goal. In at number 6, Injustice: Gods Among Us. Injustice: Gods Among Us was a fantastic video game that ended up inspiring its very own comic book series, which also did swimmingly. That's the word of the day. It also did swimmingly well. Use that word in a sentence down below, and the funniest one gets a feature next time. Now back to cool Jokers. Just like the video game, we entered a world where Superman and the Justice League are pretty much running things. Now, as you can imagine, this didn't sit well for the villains of the world, and leave it to the Joker to be the one who mentally breaks Superman. This version of the Joker had stolen the Scarecrow's fear gas and laced it with some kryptonite in order to trick Superman into thinking that he was fighting his nemesis Doomsday. However, once killing the supposed Doomsday, it was revealed, spoiler alert, that he actually killed his pregnant wife Lois Lane. The Joker didn't stop there though, he also stole a submarine, and when Lois was killed, it triggered a bomb to go off in Metropolis. Even when the Joker was killed by Superman, it still proved him right. Most Joker characters run with this theory of something similar, that even the most stable people could go insane after just one really bad day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was one really bad day for Superman.
Though he had failed to elevate the Joker clan's status, Joker was convinced a similar organization could be successful in his dimension.
In at number 5, Under the Red Hood.
Sure. Anything else?
I'll need some guys. Not these guys, because, well, they're kinda dead.
John DiMaggio voicing the Joker in this Batman animated movie was incredible. I mean, I almost used the word phenomenal. You know what? Let's go with phenomenal. It was phenomenal. He kept such a close resemblance of what Mark Hamill did with the character previously, but definitely added his own take. Then with the dark and gritty animation synced up, his voice finds a perfect spot. This version of the Joker, specifically for those of you keeping track at home, is from the film Batman Under the Red Hood. Critics praised the film's direction, animation, and emotional weight of the story, and James Harvey from The World's Finest even called it a mature and faithful take on the Batman lore. In at number 4, Arkham Origins. When Troy Baker was set to voice the Joker in the video game Batman Arkham Origins, many people had their doubts because before him was the great, well, Mark Hamill. Although those doubts were promptly shattered upon this moment at the New York Comic Con in 2013.
Madness is the emergency exit.
The events in Arkham Origins take place about 5 years before the game Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman is an experienced crime fighter in the second year of his career, but is not yet the veteran superhero that we know him as. The game would explore Batman's first confrontation with the Joker, which is why Troy used some of Mark Hamill's influence. It's a great voice for the Joker and should be the staple in regards to that, and I mean, like, you can literally make anything sound cool. Just listen to Troy Baker make anything sound cool.
This fruitcake is fantastic! Anyone wants a piece?
In at number 3, Emperor Joker. This 9-issue crossover known as Superman Emperor Joker truly showed fans what kind of destruction the Joker would be capable of if given godlike powers. In this bizarre world, the heroes and villains had swapped roles, but regardless of how the public viewed them, the Joker was still really twisted. He would do insane things like kill and resurrect Batman on a daily basis, and after stealing these reality-altering powers, he ate the entire country of China. Perhaps the worst part was that he did it just so that he could make a joke about Chinese food. A country that's home to more than 1 billion people became a lunchtime snack for this maniac. His resume of destruction aside, the visual differences of this Joker made it a must-have on this list. Emperor Joker was a form the Joker took after tricking Mr. Mxyzptlk into donating nearly 100% of his reality powers to him. As a direct result, he became near omnipotent and created a hellish world in his own image. In at number 2, The Dark Knight. Don't get me wrong, The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies of all time, but Heath Ledger's Joker comes in with a silver medal on this cool list. He's still the number 2 though, so let's just focus on the positives.
Then why'd you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers?
Portraying a psychopathic, mass-murdering, schizophrenic clown with zero empathy, Heath's version of the Joker displayed both mental combat and strategic planning. His physique was defined by his clown makeup and gruesome smirk that added a twist of comedy to all of his crimes and destruction. The Joker was the only major antagonist in the trilogy who wasn't linked to the League of Shadows. Although his actions were indirectly responsible for Bane successfully engineering a revolution in Gotham in The Dark Knight Rises. Heath Ledger's iconic Joker raised the bar to another level and left some big psycho clown shoes to fill for future Jokers. Last but certainly not least, in our number 1 spot, DC Animated Universe. Come on, you had to see this one coming. Of course, Mark Hamill is the number 1 coolest Joker of all time, and I still consider him to be different from the original. In retrospect, many of the Jokers portrayed before Mark pale in comparison, and since voicing the character, he has really set the benchmark of expectations. Mark was one of the first people to design separate types of laughs for the Joker to have. Everything from maniacal planning to uproarious joy. What makes this Joker so much cooler than the original is that the animated show had to find a way around using extreme violence, something that the Joker absolutely loves. Instead, they focused on building up his psychotic monologues and overall frightening demeanor, making him and his laughing gas scarier than death itself. People like to overlook this animated series, but if anything, writers should be using it as a building block for cooler Joker characters. And that has been the top 10 alternate versions of the Joker cooler than the original. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our editing team for making me look so good. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on this list. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is tap that playlist when it pops up. From Top 10 Nerd, my name is Johnny Rogers, saying until next time, stay nerdy. Make sure you tap that subscribe button and never. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with, what am I saying here, with Scott Snyder, I wrote cider. And last but certainly not least, in our number one spot,